This boy just looked at a classmate, and in the blink of an eye, that classmate turned to stone. With a simple wave of his hand, the statue appeared inside the classroom out of nowhere. This was Andy's superpower. Anyone who made eye contact with him would instantly turn into a statue. Afraid of turning more classmates into stone, he had no choice but to walk around with his eyes covered. But all kinds of accidents kept happening, and the number of statues in the classroom grew and grew. Trying to avoid people, Andy headed outside only to run into two teachers. They too turned to stone and reappeared in the classroom. Andy rushed to a place with no one around. He ran into the equipment room of the gym, but unexpectedly, a girl was inside organizing things. He immediately turned away to avoid her and told Annie to leave. At first, Annie refused. But then she remembered the time Andy slammed his hand beside her on the wall and cracked the school building. So, she eventually left the equipment room. Andy quickly locked the door. Just as he let out a sigh of relief, he suddenly heard shouting and scuffling outside. A glasses-wearing student was scolding a group of bullies. Andy immediately asked to borrow his glasses, but the boy refused, saying his eyes would turn into numbers without them. Still, he eventually lent them to Andy. Andy's superpower was suppressed as a result. Andy teleported himself outdoors. The other student was amazed and kept pestering him with questions, but Andy ignored him and teleported straight back to the classroom building. Using his item swapping ability, he swapped the glasses back. Just as he was about to deal with the statues, Annie suddenly appeared and invited him to play a two-person buddy game. Andy refused. At that moment, a group of boys rushed at him. They were all people who liked Annie. And the fact that Annie had feelings for Andy made them furious. Fearing that Andy might get hurt, Annie stepped up to stop them. She grabbed Andy's hand and dragged him away. They escaped once again into the gym's equipment room. Annie even asked someone to block the keyhole with glue so no one could open the door from the outside. It turned out everything was part of Annie's plan. She just wanted to be alone with Andy. But she didn't know Andy could hear all her thoughts. Andy didn't have time to deal with Annie. He could sense a gang of bullies invading the school. Since he couldn't teleport in front of Annie, he teleported the entire gang away at once, which completely drained his energy. He collapsed and lost consciousness. Annie was extremely worried. She removed the device from Andy's head. But that was what kept his power under control. Once it was removed, satellites around the globe stopped working. Thankfully, Andy woke up just in time. He quickly realized that his power was out of control. He tried to reattach the device, but Annie had accidentally lost it. She offered him a lollipop as a replacement, but it didn't work. Suddenly, the temperature in the equipment room plummeted. They had floated into outer space. Just as Annie was about to pass out from the cold, Andy regained his strength. He found the device and inserted it back into his head. The very next second, the equipment room returned to Earth. But both he and Annie fainted inside it.